Republican Congressman of Florida, Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz.
Representative Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz.
Representative Matt Gaetz.
What a douche.
The antics that are happening in this thing are something out of a movie.
Lines of cocaine.
What does that say about the Family Values Party?
It's not something most people encounter.
Ignore all the scandalous headlines.
Snorting cocaine.
It involves prostitution.
These fucking politicians, it's a huge, oh my God, and then nothing happens. They just do whatever they want all the time.
Spending and embezzling government money.
The things the media has said about me are lies, and the truth will prevail.
And look at the actual legal situation for one Matt Gaetz.
We've been hearing about parties for weeks now.
It's the sort of party that Gaetz and his accomplice Joel Greenberg went to all the time. It was a GOP fundraiser because of course it was.
Two witnesses who were in the hotel room after a political fundraiser in Orlando in 2019.
I get my friends together and I say, okay, we're gonna go down there, we're gonna give our speech, then we're gonna go in that room and we're gonna demand access.
Where Gaetz, after he delivered this very Trumpy speech, he retires to his hotel room with this woman.
The woman is identified as Megan Zalonka.
And that was so good, I almost had to smoke a cigarette afterwards.
Who he's had a transactional relationship with in the past.
You can't do that, Matt. Very, very bad.
Two witnesses as saying they saw Zalonka preparing lines of cocaine.
She also leveraged that into a government no-show job where she got paid almost $17,000 for not actually working.
If he is potentially having other people pay for escorts, while those people have things that they want done legislatively by the congressman, I mean, that is the most textbook corruption that I can imagine.
Okay, wait a minute. None of this should surprise anyone. What? A rich white dude is allegedly indulging in hookers and blow? Not out of the ordinary. What makes this a big deal is not that the rich white dude is an elected official or that he allegedly used campaign funds for these extracurricular activities. What makes this a big deal is the rabbit hole that it takes us down. Let me show you what I mean. According to the website Apollo.io, Megan Zalonka, the woman who is alleged to have provided escort services to Representative Gaetz, is listed as Director of Communication for a company called American Medical Marijuana Physicians Association. We'll shorten it to AMPA. There are also allegations she provided the representative with cocaine. In this picture, we see Representative Gaetz sandwiched by Zalonka and another woman, Savara Hastings. Ms. Hastings is listed as the executive director of AMPA. Was she also an escort? Did she procure women for Gaetz and Greenberg? Did the leadership at AMPA know?
If you would like more information on the treatment of arthritis with platelet-rich plasma.
According to bizprofiles.com, this man, Jason Pirozzolo, is also listed as a director for AMPA.
Lateral epicondylitis or tennis elbow is a name for a condition in which the bony bump at the outer side of the elbow is painful and tender.
Dr. Pirozzolo, forgive pronunciation, is a hand surgeon and a pilot. He also does Botox.
Dr. Jason Pirozzolo trained at Duke University and is a board-certified physician.
He also could possibly have gained millions in Florida's medical marijuana industry.
As a result,
Dr. Pirozzolo donated to Governor Ron DeSantis' election and somehow secured a position as treasurer of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority.
And that's a really powerful job because Orlando International Airport spends a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars a year on contracts. So getting an appointment to the government that controls that, that's a primo spot.
By the way, the good doctor was very proud of his tail numbers. Not what you're thinking. Which leads us to this photo, which we imagine was taken in the back of Pirozzolo's plane. The photo features Savara Hastings and another woman, possibly Gaetz' ex. The photo was posted by Representative Gaetz at some point. Is this Mace Bell? Is this the ex-girlfriend that is flipping on Gaetz? Were crimes committed on this plane? Was Miss Hastings the Ghislaine Maxwell in this story? Did Miss Hastings procure escorts for Greenberg and Gaetz? Did Pirozzolo know? Why is this important? Well, because this may be a classic example of pay for play, or in this case, lay for play, meaning that Gaetz was possibly bribed with hookers and blow in order to favor certain individuals in Florida's medical marijuana industry.
But it was his role in Florida's medical marijuana gold rush that truly fueled Pirozzolo's rise from a secondary political player to successful entrepreneur and major GOP fundraiser.
According to the Tampa Bay Times, Jason Pirozzolo had a hand, pun intended, in crafting the first medical marijuana law in Florida. Several last-minute revisions to the law require applicants into the medical marijuana industry to, quote, hire medical directors. This was the result of another late amendment to the original 2014 law that Pirozzolo had proposed. Close quote. The Tampa Bay Times goes on to report that Pirozzolo started a consulting firm providing medical directors to nurseries seeking marijuana licenses. And, quote, in Jason Pirozzolo's application to join the board of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority in 2019, two of the men currently embroiled in scandal with him were among his references, U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz and former state lawmaker Halsey Beshears. More on Beshears later.
Thank you all so much for coming. I'm Congressman Matt Gaetz. During my time in the Florida legislature, I was the principal architect of our state's medical marijuana laws, and I am here to confess that those laws need to change. And under the bold leadership of the Desantis Nunez administration, I am absolutely certain that they will.
There is no denying Matt Gaetz was very involved with the medical marijuana industry in Florida, of which Pirozzolo and others stood to make millions in. So here's what we know. You have a hand surgeon, Pirozzolo, in charge of a company, TAMPA, that is connected to an alleged escort, Zalonka, who allegedly snorted coke with Gaetz. This is the same Pirozzolo that is physician to Florida politicians.
Dr. Pirozzolo flies up to Tallahassee several times a year during session. He's sure to give us advice on great legislation to pass.
And is the same Pirozzolo that is licensed by the Florida Boxing Commission, the same Pirozzolo that is kinda tight with Desantis, who is kinda tight with Trump. You can see Trump, DeSantis, and most of the gang in this video. Is this starting to make sense? Does this sound like corruption yet? I'm not alleging anything, but I find it very interesting that you could tie all these people together. Greenberg, Gaetz, Zalonka, Hastings, Beshears, Pirozzolo, cocaine, DeSantis, Trump. So the questions are, was Pirozzolo using escorts to grease Representative Gaetz' palms in order to gain favor in Florida's wildfire medical marijuana industry? Did these people somehow conspire together in order to shape this industry? Did escorts, coke, trips to the Bahamas, and God knows what else influence the decisions of lawmakers? Was DeSantis involved? Did they know? How many people knew? How many people are involved? And who the fuck is Halsey Beshears anyway?
I'm Halsey Beshears. To do what's right for working families, we need our North Florida values back in Tallahassee.
With a background in the nursery business, Representative Halsey Beshears has been a long-term advocate for family farms with hands-on experience with production agriculture.
Beshears, along with Gaetz, had served as a reference for Pirozzolo's appointment to the airport board. And Beshears, like Pirozzolo, has recently been linked to the sex trafficking investigation targeting Gaetz, with Politico reporting that he too was on that trip to the Bahamas.
God, that music is awful. What were they thinking? According to the Tampa Bay Times, following the last-minute changes to the 2014 federal marijuana legislation, quote, as a result of the change, the only companies that could apply for dispensing licenses were state-licensed nurseries. And even then, only nurseries that had been around for at least 30 years and had at least 400,000 plants. One of the nurseries that met the criteria was Simpson Nurseries, which is based near Tallahassee and owned by the family of then State Representative Halsey Beshears, who voted for the 2014 legislation. Beshears, a former president of the State Nursery Association, worked for his family's nursery until 2013, according to his financial disclosures. So clearly, Pirozzolo, Beshears, and others stood to gain millions with their association to Representative Gaetz and the medical marijuana bill he sponsored.
Moreover, there is extensive litigation right now about licenses for medical marijuana companies.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Though I dislike the Democrats slightly less than the Republicans, for me this is not partisan. This is not red versus blue. This is rich versus poor. We see this shit all the time, and the people with money get away with murder, as they punish poor people for doing what the rich do with impunity. The whole two-party system is rigged to keep the common folk, me and you, in conflict, while the rich, the blue and red, do whatever the fuck they want. I believe Representative Gaetz will not be prosecuted, because rich people rarely are. They prosecuted OJ for murder, but they let him go eventually. As of June 3rd, 2021, the only person charged in this case is Joel Greenberg. Representative Matt Gaetz, the Republican congressman for Florida's 1st District, denies any wrongdoing and will take any and every opportunity to profess his innocence. Listen in. Is this a guilty man?
This couple bounded up to me, strapped down with fanny packs and Washington visitor maps, and they said, "That was Jim Jordan." I said, "Yes." "And you're Matt Gaetz." "Oh, yes, yes." "And you're both on the Judiciary Committee." "Yes, yes, we are." "And you're both best friends with President Trump." "Yes, we both know the president very well." "And you both stood in the way of the Russia hoax." "Yeah, that was very important work." And then there were those crazy false sex scandal allegations. I said, "No, that was Jordan."
Tick-tock, Matt Gaetz. Wow.